Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and welcome back to Middle Earth Gaming. And in today's video, it's going to be a bit of a different one. It's going to be an army showcase video. I've been planning to do these for quite a while. So if you guys do enjoy it, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. Would love to know feedback from you. But of course, if you'd like to see more. But I thought for the first one, it's one that I've been wanting to do for almost a year now, or maybe over a year now. And it is an army that I've been working on for, in the start. I started in 2022, in the middle of 2022, and then I continued it during 2023 as well. Kind of did it in like two different stages, as you guys will see when I get to showcase the army itself. And the army it is for Easterlings. So as you guys know, I've been a big advocate on Defense of the North. I just so happen to have it right here. And of course, Easterlings play a big part in it. And of course, when Defense of the North came out, you guys know I wanted to do like a big campaign for it. It is still happening, guys. Don't worry. I'm just, it's it's a lot trying to prepare for it. And, obviously we're doing other stuff as well. But of course, we need a lot of models for that. And I painted quite a lot. If you guys remember back in my hobby vlogs, I actually documented it. I think it started in hobby vlog number 10. I think it was called an Easterling Army Part 1. And that's when I painted my first batch of Easterlings. I think I painted like, 40 of them at the same time. Yeah, so I thought I'd show you guys the progress that I've made so far. So the army as it stands, it's not your average Easterling army, I should say. So it doesn't have Amdo, it doesn't have Kamor. It's more like the Dragon Emperor's Legion. Very similar. It's basically the army that assaults Erebor during the Third Age, and that's the army I was going for. So, like I said, I'll take you over to the army and showcase it. Obviously, that's what the army showcase is for. But I thought I'd go through first of all and discuss where they came from, where the Easterling profile came from, how it developed, before we actually get into the models. So if you guys enjoyed this bit, let me know. If not, I'll timestamp in the description if you guys just want to get to the showcase bit of the actual army. But first of all, I actually don't have all the books at the moment. I don't have all the White Dwarfs with me, but I have gone back and checked. And Eastlings first came out in February, or they first came out in the Return of the King source book, of course, back in, that came out in 2003, late 2003, when the Return of the King movie came out, obviously, or just before it. And Eastlings, that's when they first appeared. And really, compared to what we have now, it really wasn't anything. All we had was an Easterling captain and an Easterling warrior. So it really wasn't anything compared to what it is now, obviously. And as you say, we'll slowly go through that. So yeah, firstly came out in 2003 with this Return of the King rulebook. But the models themselves didn't come out until February 2004. So I've gone back on in some of the White Dwarfs, and they came out in February of 2004. Now, firstly, they came out as a blister pack of 3 for the Easterling warriors. You got to choose between 2 types of pikes or 2 types of swords, and it basically came as a mix. So you don't really know what you're going to get. And also came a command pack, of course, with the little banner and the captain, the captain that's like that. And that's all we pretty much had. So going from 2003 with the Return of the King rulebook, of course, the next step is the big blue rulebook. And this was like, this was obviously still smells good. It was, of course, my Bible, back in the day, as a little kid, trying to recreate battles from the movie. And that's the Easterling section. A Shadow in the East. It's crazy to think about, but that's the Easterling section. So even in 2005, when the big blue rulebook came out, that's all we had. They didn't update it at all. It was literally just the Easterling captain, valued at 50 points, basically the same as he is now. They really haven't changed too much. And the Easterling warrior could take a spear, couldn't take a pike. Haven't checked. It could be an FAQ back then. I haven't checked that. But the base profile for an Easterling warrior includes sword and heavy armor, and it can be given a spear for 1 point, a shield for 1 point, and a banner. And this was at the time where you could only have 1 banner per hero in the same force, and that was 25 points. And the captain could take a shield, horse, and an armored horse. So quite different to what it is now. You obviously know Eastlings are known for their pipe block formations and stuff like that, but back then, like I said, it says a spear. It's obviously a pike, but it says a spear back in the rules. So I don't know if it was FAQ'd or if it was an errata, But back in the Big Blue Rulebook, it says a spear. Now, and then something happened that the Easterling did not intend, and that was this bloody beautiful book. Of course, we have all the wonderful different source books and the supplements that came out, and one of them was A Shadow in the East, and this was all about Eastlings. This was all about Khand, you know, and it was amazing what you can do now with Eastlings. That's just come out from this book. The big thing that came out from this book, obviously, there was a few things, to be honest, but one of them, I don't know if Kamul was out just yet. Kamul was in this book, but I think he might have been, I don't know if when was it? It would have been For the Necromancer. I'm not sure if this was earlier than For the Necromancer. It was probably around the same time. But yeah, Kamul was in here. We also have the Eastling Captains still in here and the Eastling Warriors. They were in plastic for the first time. So you could definitely start to create a proper Eastling army. You didn't have to just keep getting the metals, that 3 in a pack, for whatever the price was, probably like £5 if you're in the UK for 3 of them. But now you're having a box, and back then, well, it is still a box of 20, but before they went to boxes of 10, they came out as a box of 20 for, I think, I don't even know how much a pack was. I think in Australian dollars back then, it was a box of 20 or like a box of 24 for $35. And now it's a box of the same price for like $77 or $80 or something like that. So obviously, of course, Lord of the Rings back then was an affordable hobby, but that is what created the Eastling army. You could finally create an army cheaply, affordable, easily, with the plastics, and it was a lot easier. I'll talk about it in the army showcase, but cleaning up those metal Eastlings is quite a challenge, and it's not fun. And then also what came out is the Easterling Cataphract. Now these are the metal Catafracts. I've been trying to find whereabouts the plastic Cataphracts came out, and I can't tell. I haven't gone through every White Dwarf, so apologies about that, guys. But I believe they weren't in here, and they weren't obviously in the blue rulebook. But I believe they came up before the 5 blue source books in 2012. So I believe they probably came out for War of the Ring. War of the Ring is when like a lot of that kind of stuff came out. Like you had Galathrim Knights came out. You had you had Galathrim Knights come out. You had like a lot of those kind of armies came out. You had the plastic Galathrim came out then as well. And I assume that plastic Cataphracts came out at that point. I don't understand why they would come out for any other reason, because this was like the big Eastling source book at the time. And you know, I think we might even go through this at some point and like do like a week on this, like a Shadow in the East week. But the terrain guides, like building forts like that, building terrain like that, building the Eastling Temple as well. And just the scenarios in here, like this, some awesome scenarios. Like there's one like Kamul and Catafracts versus Treebeard. Obviously, you have the awesome Eastling Temple, which is very, very cool. And I'm pretty sure there was also the Field of Calibrant, like with El the Young, which is very, very cool. You know, about the Wayne Riders, and I think they used Khand as the Wayne Riders, but that's very, very cool. So then we had Shadow in the East. So that brought quite a lot for the Eastlings. It was a big update for the Eastlings. Plastic troops from the metal troops, and I think the metals were probably not being used anymore at that time. But plastic troops, the plastic troops you know today came out into I'm pretty sure this was 2006. I'm pretty sure it still tells us. 2005 actually. It says 2005 here. But that's very, very cool. And like I said, I'm not too sure when the plastic Cataphracts came out. Like I said, probably around War of the Ring era, and that point. And that's pretty much all we had. Even with when the blue source books came out, that's pretty much all we had. Except, I believe, at some point as well, I think it was the blue source books actually. The Dragon Knight, like, you know, the Dragon Knight mounted and the Dragon Knight on foot, and the War Priest. The War Priest might even come out during War of the Ring. I actually did have War of the Ring around here at some point. But that might have come out during War of the Ring, those 2 heroes. But I'm not too sure, because they were in the command, the old command set, which is technically the new command set now. It's still the same. But I'm pretty sure that they came around at that point. Between 2008 to 2012, they came around. Like I said, I didn't go through all minute details of when they came out. And then, of course, we come to Armies of the Lord of the Rings. Now, this obviously created a big surge in Eastlings. gave them a lot of different rules. At some point, I assume, actually, we didn't actually go check. A Shadow in the East, do the Eastlings actually have pikes? No, it still says they have spears, but the spears are 2 points. But they do have the special rule called phalanx. Easterling warriors are trained to fight in phalanxes. When their spears form in an almost impenetrable hedge of sharpened blades, Easterling spears may be used to support friends exactly as if they were pikes, though the models still gain a defense bonus for carrying a shield. So that's the rule that they have now. They still have the phalanx rule, but it's technically it's a pike, but they called it a spear, which I don't understand why, because it's much larger than a spear. So it still says spear. They can also take bows for the first time in this book. Same with the Eastland captain, actually. But it's called a spear, but it's cost an extra point, so it's technically this cost of a pike. They call it a spear, and it's got a pike rule, which is very confusing. Why don't you just use it as a pike? Makes no sense to me. But then, of course, like I said, we go to Armies of the Lord of the Rings. And we go to the Eastlings, which I should have prepared. I'll just keep talking so I can see. It's coming up here, guys. We have Easterlings. Of course, I forgot about Amdur. Amdur came out at some point as well. Like I said, I'm not an Amdur and Kamor player, so I'm not too sure when they came out. They came out after Shadow in the East. Again, there was an article around 2011, 2010 called Reinforcements, where it brought like quite a few things into the game, such as like the Knight of the White Tower, Moria Black Shield, like all that kind of stuff came around that time. So I'm not sure. Amdur might be in War of the Ring. I'm not too sure. But you guys out there do let me know, because like I said, I don't have Amdur. I've never played Amdur. I played against him. I've never used him. But I've never owned the model, so I'm not too not quite accurate on when Amdur actually did show up. But considering we got the whole page on the Eastlings. There are no quarters are special rule. The army composition now has Kamor, Amdur, Eastling Dragon Knights, Eastling Captains, Eastling War Priests, Eastling Warriors, and Eastling Catafracts. So that was a big jump, obviously from way back in, when we only had captains, a banner, and warriors. That's all we had, and only warriors with spears and shields and swords. Like that's quite a big difference. So of course now we have Amdur, we have the Dragon Knight, we have the captain, we have the war priest, we have the warrior, which now has a pike. You can also upgrade them to black dragons, which I believe came in the 2012 era with those source books. And the Eastling Catafracts, which are obviously now the plastic Catafracts we know and love, can take a war drum. They can be upgraded to black dragons as well, and they can have a banner. I didn't show you guys in that one, but in A Shadow in the East, you could only just take Catafracts. They couldn't take any upgrades, which was interesting. I don't think they could even take shields at that point. So obviously, big buff for the Eastlings there. A lot of cool special rules, obviously, with their heroes as well. Amdur is a beast. I've versed him many times. He's not very fun to go up against. And then Defense of the North, probably one of my favorite books ever, came out just for the theater itself. I love this. The theater of war came out around here. I love the Northern theater for Lord of the Rings. So obviously with this book, a lot of stuff came out for Eastlings, which was quite welcome. Quite a few profiles were added for Eastlings, fleshing them out a little bit more. Of course, the Dragon Emperor of Rune, which you guys will see very, very soon. The Dragon Emperor of Rune came out at this point. This was like almost over 2 years ago now, which is kind of crazy. With that, and this is the last supplement that has come out. It's been over 2 years since the last supplement. It's kind of crazy, and now we're looking forward to the next supplement finally. But obviously the Dragon Emperor with his royal palanquin came out. Obviously all the nerfs he's gotten, because he's quite broken, especially in the Legion. We have Rutabi and Borogir. They came out. They're very cool. The Dragon Cult Acolytes, which are, I'll talk about when we get to the army, but I was never a fan. I wasn't a fan of the aesthetic, but I got some anyway, and I converted some, which you guys will see. We also have the Runish War Drakes. You guys will see I do have some. I've got War Drakes, but of course, if a GW ever release them, I'll definitely be picking 4 of them up for the scenarios. And of course, at that point, the Black Dragons came out. The Forge World Black Dragons came out as well, which you guys will see as well. But that is kind of like a bit of a retrospective of the Eastling profiles, or not really profiles because I don't really go through the profiles, but like the Easterling product range, like how it developed over through I guess in 2002, so, oh sorry, 2003, so over 19 years, how the Easterlings developed to what we know today. So there we go, guys. That is the bit of a retrospective on that, and now I'm going to go over and show you the army. So I hope you guys enjoy. And here is the Gleaming Horde, guys. As you guys can see, on my first part of my Erebor Valley board, we have my Easterling army. So as you guys can see, there is quite a lot in there. I was not exaggerating whatsoever. So we're going to go through it and go section by section. As you guys can see, I've laid it out, and it's actually the first time I've laid it out on this board, so it's kind of cool to see. I'll just kind of pan over it so you guys can get like a sense of what this is. So of course, this Easterling army I have been building up for the Battle of Dale scenarios. So it's not like the normal Easterling army you would see. Like there's no Kamul, there's no Amdur. It's very much like the Dragon Emperor host, the host of the Dragon Emperor Legion sort of army here. So yeah, so we're going to start off with the heroes. So we'll start off down here. So of course we have Rutabi here. She of course is the general of the Dragon Legion. Very, very cool model. I got these guys straight up. Her and Brorgir. Got them straight away and painted up straight away. There's actually a hobby vlog when they came out. You can go find on the channel where I paint these up in that vlog, because I just thought they were so cool. And it kind of led to this. They were one of the first Easterling models that I painted, were Rutabi and Brorgir. And speaking of Brorgir, here we are. We have Brorgir here as well, which I think turned out pretty well. I was very happy with how they turned out. As we'll go over the army, guys, I'm actually starting to rebase the army, so it actually looks like this. So you will see some of the bases are of my old basing, and I've ripped up the sand. So I'm kind of rebasing this at the moment. So I probably should have done this after I've rebased the whole army, but you know, c'est la vie. So half the army over here has not been rebased yet, but this side has been rebased. So you guys will see a little bit of a contrast difference between that. So what else heroes do we have? Well, we have a Dragon Knight on foot. We have this guy. He was one of the later additions to the army at the moment, as you guys can see. So you guys can actually see a bit of a contrast between the first part of the army I did. I did the ones that are in that are being rebased are from the first, when I first started painting the army, because this army was painted at around August of 2022 to about, I don't know, maybe July of 2023. So it took about a year to get this much painted up, and you know, I've still got, as I'll talk later, I've still got a ways to go. But you guys can definitely see the difference between the original basing and the basing that I've chosen to go with, that I'm redoing. We also have a Easterling War Priest, which is a very cool model. I believe that the mounted War Priest is one of my favorite models in the range. Don't ask me why, I just think it's absolutely beautiful. So very, very, very cool model here. I was very happy with how he came out. Again, as you guys can see by the basing, again, one of the later additions to the army. It was like in the second batch of painting. We also have quite a few captains here. So we have 4 Easterling captains. Obviously, I do have another one, not painted yet. So we have 4 of the metal ones, and I have 1 fine cast one. So I was not a fan of the plastic Eastlings, but of course that's the only plastic Eastlings we have, you know, obviously. But when GW had their made to order come out, I'll show you guys with the proper basing. This is the fine cast one. So it'll be interesting if you guys can actually see a difference between the metal one and the fine cast one. So this is a fine cast one. As you guys can see here, this is from the command set, obviously with the banner, the Dragon Knight, and the War Priest. This is a metal Easterling captain. You can probably tell by the little chip there. I do have to sort that out later on. And of course we have the banner from the command set as well, which I'm thinking about repainting the banner because I'm not too happy with how the flag actually is. So I might do that at some point. Again, I've got so many things to paint, so I said that about a year ago. It still hasn't happened, but you know, it is what it is. So those are the heroes and the banner. So I thought, you know, that'd be a nice little connection to have there. Next, we'll move on to the Catafracts. So I've only got 6 at the moment. I do have plans for more, and I do have some of the metal ones as well. These are just the plastic ones. So they're not, as you guys can see, they are not, the riders are not glued down. I just haven't done it yet. I will do eventually. Again, when I come back to doing more of this army. So we have the captain, of course. Obviously, he's like I said, they're not glued down at all. But they were fun to paint, actually. I really loved painting these guys. The horses as well. I did them all the same color. Very, very easy to paint, and I think the horses turned out quite well. So yeah, I was really happy with how they turned out. The captain as well. I'm honestly thinking I've got a mad idea of not repainting the entire army, but just repainting the red of the army to go a bit darker. Because I'm not really. I'm looking at them now and they look alright, but I kind of wished I did it a bit darker now. So I've got a kind of mad idea just to repaint the red quite a bit darker, actually. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. And then we have 5 normal Catafracts. Again, not none of them are glued on. I think I painted them separately. I think that's why I just haven't glued them down. They don't have shields because in the defensive north scenario it doesn't specify they have shields. So these ones don't have shields. The next one I do will probably have shields. I do have plans to convert some black dragons on Catafracts, which will, you know, talking about black dragons, let's get onto them now. So we have the sword and shield version of the black dragons right here. And I have to say, again, I think Easterlings are very underrated, like model wise, because the black dragons are absolutely beautiful, but I think a lot of people actually know that. So we have the black dragon banner bearer right here, which I think is a stunning model. But you guys will actually see that I don't, you know, I think this is probably, you know, I do have a favorite black dragon, which you guys will see, one for the sword and one for the pike. It is this one. This guy is either this guy, which you guys can see here, or this guy, I think. Maybe not. I think it might be this guy, actually. I think they're just wonderful, wonderful poses. Awesome looking models. So I do have 18 black dragons. So I've got 8 sword and shield, technically 9, but one's with a banner. And I've got 9 with pike. So as you guys can see here, and I think the pikes, I don't know what it is. I just love pikes. I just think they're absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, black dragons, they cost a little bit extra. Obviously, with the Legion, the host of the Dragon Emperor Legion, you don't have to pay for it. Pay for the black dragon upgrade. But obviously, it gives you +1 courage and +1 fight. So obviously, it's good to, you know, with the Easterling special rules, as we've spoken about before, just upgrading a pike in the back line. So you've got a normal sword and shield, then you've got a normal pike, and then a black dragon pike. You're still going to have that fight 4 in the back rank. And even if they, you know, go through, even if they kill the guy in the front, you're still going to have that fight 4 for the rest of the fights. So we have a couple of black dragons here. I'm not going to go through them all because they are pretty much the same, but I don't know about you guys, but I think the black dragons are absolutely wonderful, and I do plan on getting more. I only have 18 at the moment. I'll go through my future plans for this army later on, because I do have future plans, and you know, as if this isn't enough, I do have plans to expand it. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Then we'll go on to the actual, well, I guess the grunts, but we actually have the normal Easterling warriors. So as I was saying before, wasn't actually a fan of the plastic Easterlings. I just wasn't a massive fan. But then obviously Defense of the North came out, and with it the Easterlings, the old Easterling metal came in. So as you guys can see, we have a mixture of the old metals, which are like these ones here, these ones here. This is a metal one. This is a metal one. That's hang on. Yeah, here's a metal. Here's a metal. Here's a metal. This one's a plastic. So they're all scattered in between, of course, with the pikes as well. And the little banners. I actually don't count these as banners because you get so many of them. I just count them as pikes. But and it's awesome because I just think they're so much nicer, and they look. I always think as these things as like a warrior nation. So having them more uniform as they are like that with the original metal sculpts, I think is just very, very cool. Also, it's cool to see, obviously this army is very, my paint scheme, I should say, is very influenced by the Two Towers when they march into the Black Gate. So it's more like a silvery looking armor, more unique to the film. Whereas a lot of Easterling armies these days, which is not a problem, but is very gold. But this is, you can definitely see the gold, but it's very muted. It's a muted gold, as it is in the Two Towers. And I've done that across the entire army, which I'm very, very happy with. I don't like painting gold, and this is my default gold now. I do this across almost everything that I do, unless something else specifies it, kind of like the Iron Hills kind of stuff. Some of that needs to be like pure gold. But this gold, I've actually, I've put this into my entire collection of minis. So like sword hilts, that kind of stuff. I do that throughout my entire collection now. So these are the painted ones. Obviously, this is the second batch of warriors I did. I'm going to say about June or July last year, in 2023. And over here is the first batch I did in around August or September of 2022. This is the first batch of warriors I did, along with a few bowmen that I'll show you guys a bit later. But again, a mixture of metals and plastics. Really what it is each batch I did one box of plastic warriors, which is 20. And then I also did 2 boxes of the Easterling warbands when they came out. So I originally bought 2 of the metal Easterling warband, so it's like what is that? That came with 8 pikes and 4 swords, so it was like 8 swords and shield and 16 pikes and 2 of the banners and 2 of the captains. That's why I got so many captains. And then when I came to doing my second batch, I wanted to get more, and I got a really good deal on one of the trade groups, and someone sold me another 2 boxes, which is really cool. So like I said, it bolsters out the army quite a lot. I'm thinking about getting more because unfortunately with the plastic boxes at the moment, you just don't get enough pikes. I think you only get, what was it, out of 20 you only get like 4 pikes or something, which is absolutely crazy. So obviously a faction with a pike specific rule, you need a lot more pikes. You obviously could convert them, but it just doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I think I don't think they're ever going to change it now, but it'd be nice to actually get a lot more pikes. And those warbands, you get double the amount of pikes that you do swords, which is the way it should be for a faction that's specific, like has a good rule for pikes. So we have those. So those are the original warriors that I did in 2022, and these are the ones I did in 2023, which you guys would have seen on my hobby vlogs. Then we have the man of the hour himself. We have the Dragon Emperor of Rune. As you guys can see, a little bit of conversion going on here. We have the Dragon Emperor on foot. Whoop. So made him with a little not cork, is it? It's what is it? It's a slate base, just to make him stand out a little bit more. Was really happy with how he turned out. As you guys can see, one of the other basing, I actually rebased him when I was doing these ones. So I actually painted him when he first came out in 2022. So he was one of the first, he was going along with the first batch, but I rebased him along with these guys. Just so I could, I was, as you guys can see, the original basing's gone. You can still see the rims, but the original basing's gone. So I was planning to do it. I honestly don't remember what distracted me. But then we have the Dragon Emperor on his palanquin, which is only, actually he can come off the base. It's just held together by a little bit of super glue, and obviously you can see one of the shields has fallen off, but that's okay. But this was my original basing, and I was happy with it at the start, but then as I got on, I wasn't too happy with it. Wasn't happy with the snow effect, that kind of stuff. I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit closer for you guys to see. But as you guys can see, I built up a little bit of a rocky platform. Obviously, he is the Dragon Emperor rune. He's going to be a bit of a centerpiece model for an army. So he was a lot of fun to paint. Very time consuming, I gotta say, because I painted him in separate stages. So I painted the Dragon Emperor by himself. I then painted the palanquin by itself. I also did, it's probably a little bit dusty, but I actually painted the carpet as well. I don't know if we're actually going to get into, if I can zoom in on that. It's not really going to show up, but yeah, it's very dusty, guys, sorry. But I tried to make a little bit of a pattern in the carpet, which is kind of cool. So yeah, these guys have been on a shelf for quite a long time, guys. I meant to do this like, you know, last year, but I'm just getting around to it now. So yeah, and then of course I magnetize him so he comes off, and I've actually got a separate base for him, so I actually technically have 2 Dragon Emperors on foot, because I thought, you know, why not? And he just magnetized straight back in like that. Very, very simple conversion. Just drew it out a little bit of hole in the palanquin, which is kind of crazy considering how expensive it is. But I was pretty happy. Painted the shield separately, painted the guy separately, painted the banner separately as well, which is, all, you know, obviously very much inspiration by the Black Dragon banner as well. And then the base. The base, like I said, he is the Dragon Emperor rune. He's going to be a centerpiece model. So I want to make a kind of like a centerpiece base. Now I do have another base just so, you know, in game purposes, you know, because he was obviously a bit up high. He's going to be easy to shoot at. Even though I'm not, you know, too fussed about that. Like, you know, I'm more of a narrative player. So I really don't care about that kind of stuff. But just in case it comes up in anything, like, you know, he has to be on a flat base. I do have a separate base for him as well that I can, I'm going to magnetize him, because there are magnets in the bottom of the feet of all the black dragons, so I can do that. But the base, the rock itself, I tried to look for slate, for kind of like this kind of design, but I could not find anything. So you guys probably wouldn't guess what it is. It's actually a big piece of foam. It's a big piece of foam with plaster rock molds on the outside. All on the outside, and then there's slate placed on top. So the bulk of it is XPS foam. The rocky out on the outside, you guys can see, if I zoom in a little bit more, that is plaster rock molds. And then like the little thing that you guys can see here, there's pieces of slate, kind of just all mixed in together, just so I can form it in. And then I used Gig Gaming modeling compound to mix it all together. Very much how I actually did this board, actually. So it kind of meshes in together nicely. So there, that is the Dragon Emperor. I was really happy how it turned out. Again, I've got, like I said, I've got a crazy idea to possibly repaint the entire red, but I think I might leave him as it is because, you know, obviously he's an expensive model. And yeah, so can we zoom? There we go. So yeah, so that is the bulk of the army, but we have a few specialists, of course. We'll start off with the Easterling bowmen. I don't have a lot of bowmen, as you guys can see here. I should have 2 boxes of bowmen here, but I don't. That is a reason I'm going to talk to you guys about later. I'm going to be converting some Black Dragon bowmen for Hobby Bingo. There's a battle company, and you know I was going to do a Black Dragon battle company. I have them still. You know, 2 years later, I still have a couple of Easterling bowmen on sprue from those original boxes. But I just haven't done that yet. I haven't got the Black Dragons yet, and I really love the Easterling bowmen. I think they're really cool models, as you guys can see here. Very, very cool. Love them. Again, as you guys can see, the I painted the 2 of them from the second batch, the rest of them from the first batch. So obviously I figured out which ones would be easy to convert, and obviously the guys holding the bow with both hands wouldn't be as easy to convert. Then we also have the second to last thing. We also have some Dragon Cult Acolytes. As you guys can see, they are a little bit different than normal because I have converted some of them. So, I wasn't a fan when they first came out, I gotta say. I just think they didn't look Easterling-ish. Obviously, sorry guys, you have the Easterling headband, but they're Dragon Cult. It's a cult, obviously. It's not going to be out in the wild, like, partying every single night. They could be partiers, I don't know. But a cult for me is very, I don't know, maybe it's very stereotypical, but it's like, shadowy and, in the shadows, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to replicate that and basically cover them up a little bit more. So I'm not great with green stuffing, as you guys know. I did this quite a few years ago now, but I'll get a couple more out so you guys can see. Like these guys I was kind of happy with, just to make them a bit like hoods, like just to make them a bit more mysterious, I guess. So you don't know their malicious intent. But I was quite happy with them. I was thinking about covering their arms as well, but I just thought I just couldn't do that. That was a bit too much out of my green stuffing stills, but I still think the hoods matched pretty well. I'm actually a bit more of a fan of the acolytes now, like the original poses of the acolytes with the helmets. But I've already got 12. That's all you need for the scenario. I don't know if I'll get any more. Yeah, I've never actually used them in the game, so I don't know how good they are. And then the last thing is the only. I'm gonna put it out there. I think it's the only 3D models I actually ever have owned, because we don't actually have the models for them yet. And these are Runish War Drakes from Forge Master Minis. Now they come as a set of 3. I didn't want to get 6, and I've only got them until GW release them, if they ever do. I hope they do, because that'd be freaking awesome. But obviously they look awesome. They're really nice. Really nice models. It's probably the only ever 3D models I have actually owned. And like I said, they're only proxies until GW actually brings theirs out. Like I said, hopefully if they ever do rip the troller pod, the good and bad troll with the catapult troll. Yeah, hopefully they do bring them out at some stage. I'll snatch them up as much as I could. You do need 4 for the scenarios, but I'm sure it'll be fine just to have 3. Worst comes to worst, when one of them dies, you can just bring another one on. Who really cares? And for narrative games, who really cares? But they're really cool models. I think they'd probably be like this. I imagine like the design would be very similar. But I think they're really awesome, and I thought, I wanted to do. It's happening, guys. The Defense of the North series is coming. I'm hoping at some point. As you guys know, I'm starting to do some Lothlorien stuff. You're getting all that ready, and then we'll have everything ready for the Defense of the North campaign, and we can just smash it all out in one. But it's just a bit hard at the moment to get that ready. But obviously, I need some of these guys, so it's like I said, hopefully GW bring their own out at some point. Like I said, I will grab them up. But I think these are really good alternatives at the moment. And like I said, I think the only 3D models I own, because I'm not a massive fan of that kind of stuff. But I have no gripes with anyone who does, because it's a hobby in itself, really, isn't it? But there we go, guys. That is my entire Easterling army. The host of the Dragon Emperor, or because like I said, I'm not a fan of the original Easterling army, like with Kamul and Amdur and stuff. At this stage anyway. So a few stats. It is roughly just over, it's about 2,100 points. So it's definitely over 2,000 points, which is very, very cool if you give everyone the upgrades and all that kind of stuff. About 130-ish models, and very, very cool stuff in general as well. Do I have future plans for this? Like I said, I do have future plans. So let's go through it. So first of all, let's start off with the Catafracts. I have plans to do some more Catafracts. Normal Catafracts and Black Dragon Catafracts. Because I think you can just, if we can get, there we go. If we can get the shields, the Black Dragon shields are obviously quite different. I'm going to press mold them and give them to Catafracts, because obviously that's a big indication of black dragons because they've got different kinds of shields. Obviously their helmets are a little bit different as well. You could probably get away with it, possibly, but we'll see about that. Speaking of black dragons, I do have plans to do more black dragons. As I said before, I do have plans to do some black dragon bowmen. So I do have plans to do some more of them. I plan to get some more swordsmen. I've got 9, I may as well get 12, so I'll probably get another 12. And I plan to get a few more pikes, because obviously pikes are really good. I want to get double the amount of pikes as I do with swords. So eventually, this is probably a couple of years on the track, because obviously it's quite a big army at the moment. So I'm not in any rush, and I've got everything for the current scenarios I need. And like I said, it's already over 2,000 points. So realistically, I don't need to buy any more. But we have a problem, don't we, guys? We hobbyists have a problem. But yeah, so the pikes, I plan on getting at least the double amount of swords and shields for it, which is cool. Like, just have like a pure black dragon army. That'd be pretty cool. The heroes, I do currently own. If you guys have recently seen a certain not Skaven Tide unboxing, I did pick up the mounted commanders. So I got the mounted Dragon Knight and I got the mounted War Priest. As I said before, I think the mounted War Priest is one of my favorite models in the range. So I do have them to paint up. I'm not too sure when I'll paint them up, but they're definitely on the cards at the moment. Warriors, obviously, I've got the plan for this army is to get to 3,000 points, at least 3,000 points, so I can do a massive 3,000 point on 3,000 point Battle of Dale once this board is complete, that you guys are seeing right here. So that is the plan to do that. So I think it's rough. I think I roughly have to do another 80 Easterling, like normal models. I'm gonna try and convert some more pikes. If not, I'm just gonna try and pick up some more metal Easterlings, because I think they're just absolutely gorgeous. Pain to clean up, because when you undercoat them and prime them, you'll see mold lines that you couldn't see it when they weren't primed. So that's quite annoying. Obviously, the Dragon Cult Acolyte, I don't think I'm going to get any more of them, but you never know. I don't have plans to get any more, but we'll see. Bowmen, like I said, I'm going to be converting up some Black Dragon Bowmen at some point. Like I said, I've got some Bowmen on Spruce still, so going to, when I get some more Black Dragons, I'll convert them up and probably convert those plastic Bowmen into pikes, or vice versa, something like that. But I need the Black Dragon components to make them into Black Dragons. And the Runish War Drakes, like I said, if GW ever release some, I'll get some as well, if they ever get released. Fingers crossed they actually do. But that is the army, guys. Like I said, just over 2,000 points. Like, I think, I honestly don't. If you give them everything, I think it's about 2,100, or between 2,100 and 2,200 points, which is very, very cool. Very, very cool to look at. You don't see this every day, obviously. Easterlings marching to war. Can't wait to push them, once this board's done, to have a massive game, Siege of Erebor and Battle of Dale, which would be very, very cool. So there we go, guys. That is the army review or army showcase. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let me know if you guys like to see anything more of this in the future. I do have a few armies as well I could do this. I also plan to update this as I go with future updates. So, if I ever get up to 3,000 points, or, if I ever, end up finish basing them, or, repaint the entire reds, I might do an update then. Maybe like a yearly update to see how it goes. If you guys like to see that, let me know. Let me know what armies you'd like to see me do as well. I've got a lot of armies at the moment and many more on the way. So that's very, very cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so very much for watching. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. But thank you guys so very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, happy gaming.